Another one that I want to talk about was in July of 2023 as well. It was, I believe, 5 or 6 teenagers in a car that went into a pond and a 16-year-old died. Why was your department chasing them?
Those kids were committing break-ins. One of them had already been arrested for breaking in, was out on bond. That's what they're out there. They were out committing crimes. And see, we're talking about what we did, but we're not talking about our deputies who jumped in the water and saved the kids too.
Right.
You know, we kind of forget about that, how my deputies put their lives in danger by jumping in the water and saving kids. They tried their best to save the one who drowned. They saved the rest of them. The video shows what all we did with those kids. But the driver and them made the decision they were not going to stop. They were out there committing crimes.
Had they just committed a crime at that point? I mean, because Highway Patrol pulled them over for not having headlights on and wrote them a warning.
Right. They'd already been breaking in. They were out. But why did they run? Why did they evade?
From hearing troopers, there was weed. They smelled weed.
Why did they
evade?
Why did they evade us? Why did they drive such recklessly, and why did they drive that car into the water? Why did they make that decision? We didn't make that decision for them. They made that decision. And again, they drove that. Our deputies did everything they could. Our deputies are still having significant trauma, mental trauma over that fact, that those kids that they saved and the one that they watched that they did not save. See, we're not talking about that, but we're going to talk about these kids who, you know, they weren't coming from Sunday school. They were out here committing crimes. They had committed crimes. They were out on bond. So, am I happy that the young man died? No, but that was a position that he put himself in.
He was a passenger in the car.
He still put himself in there because he's in that car with somebody that's doing this. Why didn't they tell him, the driver, to stop? Why didn't they do that?
Well, they might have.
We don't know.
When it comes to the warrants for, did they have warrants for breaking into homes? And if so, who was it in the car?
They were already out on bond for breaking in. I know they broke into the Friars Gate Park, concession stand stuff there. They'd done multiple break-ins. Again, but why did they run? Why didn't they just stop?
Some might say it's because they're teenagers and they were scared.
They were making adult decisions. They made an adult decision to commit crimes, and they made an adult decision not to stop. Just like my deputies made a decision to jump in that water and risk their lives to try to save them.
No, the video is awful from the scene.
Yeah.
It really is. So you say your deputy followed policy in that case as well.
Right.
Do you know, with the investigation into that, who did the investigation into that chase? Because usually Highway Patrol does, but they didn't this time around.
Highway does when there's an accident. Again, our professional standards and our training, they look at all the chases. Every chase that we're involved in, they look at it.
Is there anything else, I mean, do you have a message, is there anything else that you would want to say to the family of the child who died or the other children in the car who had to go through that as well?
I'm sorry that they made that decision. I'm sorry that they were in a vehicle with someone who failed to stop. I'm sorry we couldn't save his life. I wish we could have done more. My deputies who think about that every single day, you know, they're sorry but that was the decision that they made.
Is that a case, though? He'd been written a warning, the driver, so had the information, address, all of that. Is that a case where instead of chasing, maybe deputies could have gone to his house or tried to find him in another manner to where they weren't chasing down a windy road in the dark?
There's a lot of maybes. It's easy to sit back and Monday morning quarterback the decisions that these deputies have to make in the spur of a moment. And they fall back on their training, they fall back on our policy. So in this case, I don't think they did anything wrong. You know, I feel for the families, and I feel for my deputies too.
An innocent teenager was killed. He was not the person who was being chased, and a woman was severely injured. you still think that the risk for chasing, for why you chase them, you still think that that outweighs the risk to the public?
There's risk in our job. Everything that we do out here there's a risk. When we put this uniform on, we understand there's risk in our lives being lost, and also watching other people make decisions that they will lose their life. Do I wish it hadn't happened? Yes, I wish they'd have made better decisions and not put us in that situation where we had to chase after them. So yeah, I wish it didn't happen, but it did. That's determined by them. Again, our job and what I think the citizens of Richland County want us to do is to protect them, and that is catch criminals when they break the law.
How can they know, when that data isn't public, on how many pursuits are ending in arrest and what the arrests are for? How can the public have a clear picture of why you say it's important to pursue as often as you do?
I think the people trust us. I think the people trust me as the sheriff that we're going to make decisions that are going to protect them. That's what elections are for. If I don't do my job and the people don't trust me to do our job, I won't be reelected. I mean, that's the the checks and balances that they have on what we do as an agency. Are we doing our job? People determine that. Numbers and stuff. There's not any numbers we're hiding from anybody. So if we got it, we'll be more than happy to make it available. There's nothing secretive about what we do.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Do you have any questions?
I just have one question about the teenage pursuit. I'm asking because
Right.
I'm not nearly as read in on all this
Okay.
information as Cynthia is. Did you know who the kids were at the time when you were pursuing them? And were they under suspicion in that moment of having broken into?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I just don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if that was something you guys discovered after the fact about them.
I don't know.
Yeah, because was it did the driver have warrants out?
You ask me details now that I just don't know that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well I can follow up if you want.
I mean, that's fine. I just